Please don't hurt us." Anna's voice rang out with a desperate clarity that cut through the humid silence of the Freeman mansion like a jagged knife. Her tiny arms curled protectively around Elijah, her younger brother, who was shaking under the kitchen table, cheeks stained with tears and dust. Carla stood towering over them, barefoot, wineglass shattered on the floor behind her. Her breath reeked of Cabernet, her blouse wrinkled, and her eyes wild. She clutched a wooden spatula in one hand and pointed a trembling finger at Anna with the other. "You ungrateful little rat," she screeched. "You think just because my husband lets you live here, you get to touch my son's food, you dirty little—" She stopped short of saying it, but Anna had heard that word before, too many times. "Your kind." "Please, don't hit her," Elijah whimpered, his small voice cracking. "She was just trying to help me." Carla spun on him like a viper. "Shut up. I said no talking when I'm speaking." She raised the spatula again. "I told you to stay in your room, didn't I, Anna?" Carla snarled. "You think you can come down here, sneak food for my son, and play mommy? You think your dark little sob story makes you better than anyone?" He was hungry," Anna whispered, not daring to look up. "We both were." "Oh, you were hungry, poor thing," Carla mocked. "Maybe you should go back to where they don't eat unless they earn it. Magria." Then came the slap, not on skin, but on the counter, the spatula splintering as it struck. Carla stood there, panting, trembling with drunken rage. And then, the front door creaked open. Footsteps. Heavy. Unannounced. And a voice like thunder. "Carla!" The shout came from the foyer, and everything froze. Anna's heart leapt. Elijah jolted. Carla dropped what remained of the spatula, as if it had burned her. Tyler Freeman stood in the doorway, coat still on, briefcase forgotten on the floor. His usually calm, commanding face was twisted in shock and fury, eyes locked on the scene. Anna shielding Elijah, Carla breathless, the broken glass on the floor, the raised hand. What the hell is going on in here? Carla's face contorted first panic, then calculation. In a split second, she threw on a sweetened voice, brushing her hair behind her ear and stumbling forward. "Tyler, I didn't know you were coming home tonight. I thought you were still in Chicago." "I took the red eye," he growled, stepping into the kitchen, eyes not leaving Anna and Elijah. "You want to explain why my kids are on the damn floor, crying, while you're shouting like a lunatic?" Carla blinked rapidly, pretending to compose herself. "Tyler, it's not what it looks like. Anna, she's been acting out. She's been lying, sneaking food, manipulating Elijah against me. I've tried to keep order, but she just doesn't listen." Anna looked up, eyes wide, lips trembling. "She was feeding Elijah," Tyler said slowly. "You're telling me that's why she's shaking in fear?" Carla faltered. "You know how she is. She makes things up. She plays the victim." "I heard everything," Tyler interrupted. "I was standing outside the door for 2 minutes before I came in." Silence. Carla's face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no words came out. "You called her dirty, Carla." His voice lowered, dangerously calm. "You told her she didn't belong here. That she should go back to where she came from." "It was just," Carla stammered, "a heat of the moment thing. I had some wine. I didn't mean it." "You didn't mean to say it out loud, you mean," he said. "You didn't mean for me to hear it." Anna sat up slowly, pulling Elijah with her. "She said Mommy would hate me," Anna whispered. "Because I'm not really your daughter? Because I'm not like Elia." Tyler closed his eyes for a moment, fighting the tremble in his jaw. "You are my daughter," he said to Anna firmly, looking her in the eyes. "You will always be my daughter." Carla took a step back. "Tyler, you're tired," she tried. "You've been stressed lately. Let's not blow this out of proportion," he snapped. "A grown woman terrorizing a 6-year-old girl in her own home? You think that's just something we sweep under the rug? She doesn't respect me. She's 6. Carla's mask slipped completely now. "Oh, so now it's all about her, huh?" she shouted. "Your precious little black princess. You never cared what I needed, what I've had to deal with, how hard it is to raise someone else's child." "She's not someone else's," Tyler said coldly. "She's mine. Legally, emotionally, morally, And if you ever put your hands on either of them again, God help you. If this story moved you, let us know in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful stories that shine a light on truth, justice, and the strength of the human spirit. Anna stared at him, her lower lip trembling, eyes glassy. He walked over, knelt beside her, and put a hand gently on her back. "I'm here now," he whispered. "I'm sorry I wasn't sooner." "Huh." Elijah clung to his arm. Carla stood frozen in place, watching the moment slip further from her control. You're just going to believe her?" she said weakly. "Over me?" Tyler stood up and looked at her with an icy finality. "No," he said. "I believed her a long time ago. I just didn't want to admit it." Then he turned toward the hallway and called over his shoulder. "Pack your things, Carla. You're not staying in this house another night." The silence that followed Tyler's words was thick, almost holy. Carla didn't move. Her carefully painted nails dug into the side of the kitchen island. Her breath came out sharp and fast. She hadn't expected this. Not from him. Not from nowhere. "I said pack your things," Tyler repeated, his voice steady. It wasn't a shout. That would have given Carla something to push against. No, it was quiet and final, the kind of voice that closes doors. Carla's eyes darted to Anna, who stood still as a statue beside Elijah. Her knuckles were white, holding the hem of her too small shirt. She looked afraid. But not of Carla anymore. She looked like a child waiting to wake up from a nightmare. "She's manipulating you," Carla said, her voice rising. "She's always done this, Tyler. She wants to come between us." "There is no us," he snapped. "Not after tonight." Carla stepped forward, now desperate. "You're seriously going to throw away a marriage over this little orphan girl?" Tyler's expression turned to steel. "That little girl has more family in her pinky finger than you've ever shown in your life." "You don't mean that," she said, a crack in her voice now. He turned his back on her and walked to the cabinet beneath the sink. Grabbed the garbage bag, tossed it toward her feet. "You've got 10 minutes. Carla's eyes burned, but Tyler had already crouched down beside the kids again. He brushed Anna's curls away from her face. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Anna hesitated, then shook her head. "Not this time." "Elijah?" he asked softly. The boy didn't speak, but he leaned into Tyler's side, burying his face into his father's chest like a toddler much younger than 4. Carla let out a bitter laugh behind them. "You want to play the hero now? After being gone for 3 weeks? Maybe if you spent more time at home, you'd know what these kids are really like." Tyler stood and turned slowly. "I trusted you. I loved you," she hissed. "I gave up everything for this marriage. I played mother to your mutt." He stepped toward her so fast, so sharply, she actually stumbled back a step. His voice never rose, but it shook the air. "Don't you ever speak about her that way again." Carla's mouth opened, then shut. The rage was there, but the power was gone. She stormed out of the kitchen, the garbage bag trailing behind her, hitting the floor like a dying tail. Tyler watched until she disappeared around the corner, then turned back to the children. "Come with me," he said gently. He led them upstairs. Past the heavy wooden doors Carla always kept shut. Past the hallway lined with photos that stopped at the day of the wedding, none of Anna, none of Elijah. He led them to the master bedroom, flicked on the light. "You'll sleep here tonight," he said, "with me, just until we figure out what to do." Anna looked uncertain. "Are you going to send me back?" "Tu la knelt besid here again." "No one's sending you anywhere, Anna. You're my daughter. I signed those papers not just with ink, but with my soul. I don't care what anyone says. Blood doesn't make a family, this does." She stared at him for a long moment, then finally whispered, "Okay, back." He helped them both onto the bed, pulled the comforter over them. As he turned to get some water, Anna called out behind him, "Daddy?" He stopped. "Why didn't you come home sooner?" The question struck deep. He didn't answer right away. When he finally did, his voice was low. "I thought everything was okay," he said. "I trusted her. I thought if I worked hard enough, gave you all the best things, that was enough." He turned back to them. "But I was wrong, and I'm not going anywhere again. The sound of the front door slamming downstairs broke the moment. Carla was gone. For now, Tyler stayed up late that night, long after the kids had fallen asleep curled up against each other. He sat at the edge of the bed with his laptop open, reviewing security camera feeds, text messages, anything he'd missed. He found one video, from 3 nights ago, Carla dragging Anna by the arm into the laundry room, slamming the door, the audio crackling just enough to hear her yell, "You'll eat when I say you eat, not before." Tyler shut the laptop. Stood. His hands were trembling now, not from anger, but from shame. He had let this happen. In his house, downstairs, he poured himself a glass of water. The house was too quiet. Every shadow felt like it had been hiding something. He made a call. "Detective Rains, it's Tyler Freeman. I need a welfare report filed. There's been an incident with my wife. Or rather, ex-wife." The conversation was short. Rains was a friend, discreet, and old enough to remember when Tyler was still just that smart kid from the projects. He promised to send a CPS representative in the morning. When Tyler hung up, he looked up at the wall. A picture of Carla in a white dress still hung there. He pulled it down and set it face down on the counter. Then he walked upstairs and into the bedroom. Anna was still awake, eyes open, watching the ceiling. "Can I ask you something?" she whispered. "Anything. If I look different than Elijah, will people always hate me?" He sat on the edge of the bed. "No," he said. "Some will. But most people don't hate what's different. They just don't understand it. And we're going to help you grow up strong enough to teach them." She nodded once. Slowly, outside, the wind rustled the trees in the yard. The security light blinked on. The night didn't feel safe yet, but it felt like the beginning of something better. And in the dark, Anna finally closed her eyes. The morning after Carla left, the Freeman house was wrapped in a strange, delicate silence, like the pause between breaths. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, there was no shouting, no slammed doors, no fear vibrating through the walls. Anna sat quietly at the long kitchen island, her feet dangling above the polished hardwood floor. She wore one of Tyler's old sweatshirts, the sleeves rolled 3 times to fit her arms. Elijah sat beside her, slowly sipping warm milk from a ceramic mug shaped like a lion. He clutched a stuffed airplane in his free hand, one of the few toys Carla hadn't thrown away. Across the island, Tyler stood over the stove making pancakes, him, not the chef who usually came on weekends. No fancy ingredients, no almond flour or gluten-free batter, just regular pancakes like his mother used to make when he was a boy in East Atlanta. "You want chocolate chips in yours?" he asked, turning toward Anna with a spatula in hand. She hesitated, then nodded. "Please." He smiled, and for a brief moment, her shoulders relaxed. As he flipped the pancake, Anna glanced toward the living room. The broken wine glass from the night before was gone. The shattered spatula, too, but the echo of what had happened still clung to the air like old smoke. "Daddy?" she asked softly. "Yeah, sweetheart? What's going to happen to her?" Tyler turned the burner down, placed the spatula on the counter, and walked around to face her directly. "She won't be coming back," he said. "I spoke with the police last night. And CPS. There will be a report, an investigation." Anna looked down at the marble counter. "But what if they don't believe me?" "They will," he said. "I have evidence, videos, witnesses, and I'm your father. I'll make sure they listen." She didn't answer right away. She used to say no one would believe a girl like me, that people like me don't get saved. Tyler knelt next to her, placing his hand gently on her back. "She was wrong," he said. "You're not invisible. And you're not alone anymore." Elijah looked up at him. "Is Anna still my sister?" Tyler smiled. "She always was." A small grin touched Elijah's face. He pushed his lion mug toward Anna. "You can have the last sip." She giggled softly, and for the first time in days, the kitchen felt like a place that could be safe. Later that morning, Tyler walked through the hallway lined with photos. He paused in front of a picture he hadn't really looked at in years. Himself as a boy, no older than Elijah, sitting on the hood of his uncle's Buick with dirt on his knees and a popsicle in his hand. He'd come a long way from that. Billionaire. investor, public figure. But none of it felt heavier than the moment he had faced the truth in his own kitchen. He reached for a new frame from a nearby drawer and placed inside it a candid photo he'd taken months ago. Anna asleep in a sunbeam on the couch, Elijah curled beside her like a cat. He hung it right between the wedding photo and the one of Elijah's first steps. Let them all see it. Let the house remember. That afternoon, CPS arrived. A tall, middle-aged black woman named Miss Dorsey stood in the foyer with a leather folder under one arm. She wore no makeup, but her presence filled the room with authority and warmth. "Mr. Freeman," she said, shaking his hand. "I've reviewed the report from Officer Raines. May I speak with the children?" "Of course," Tyler said. "I'd like to sit in, if that's allowed." "It is, for now." In the sunroom, Miss Dorsey sat across from Anna, who sat upright, hands folded. Elijah clung to his sister's side but kept silent. "I'm here to make sure you're safe," Miss Dorsey said gently. "Can you tell me what happened last night?" Anna looked to Tyler, who nodded once. "She got mad because Elijah was hungry," Anna began. "I tried to get him a banana, and she said I was stealing. Then she hit the wall, threw things, called me names, told me I didn't belong here." "What kind of names?" Anna hesitated. "She said I was a rat. And dirty. That my real mother didn't want me. That I didn't belong because I'm black." Miss Dorsey didn't flinch, but she wrote something quickly in her folder. "And did this happen before, or just last night?" "Almost every day," Anna whispered. "She said she was going to get rid of me, that Daddy only kept me to look good on television." Tyler's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Miss Dorsey nodded. "Thank you for being brave. That's all I need today." Before she left, she spoke quietly to Tyler in the hallway. "I'll be filing this under Category B abuse psychological, with evidence of neglect. Given your status and presence in the home now, we don't see a reason to remove the children, but we'll be following up regularly." "I understand," he said. "Children don't lie like this," she added. "Especially not when they've been hurt for so long. She's strong, that girl." He looked back toward the sunroom, where Anna sat in the sunlight, reading aloud to Elijah from one of Carla's old cookbooks. "She is," he said. "Stronger than most people I know." That night, Tyler sat alone in the den, scrolling through family photos. He stopped on one. His late wife, Melissa, cradling Elijah as a baby. The memory of her voice came back, not a moment, but a feeling. Warm, steady, uncompromising. "She would have protected Anna," he said aloud. He closed the album and looked out the window into the backyard, where Anna and Elijah were chasing fireflies. Tomorrow, he would begin making calls. A therapist, legal paperwork, a new will, a full audit of the staff. No more blind spots, no more silences. Tonight, though, he just watched them play, and for the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to feel something close to hope. The next morning began with the smell of fresh toast and the sound of quiet laughter, foreign music in a house that, until recently, knew only whispers and slammed doors. Anna sat at the breakfast table, coloring with Elijah while Tyler flipped through the morning paper, coffee in hand. On the surface, things looked peaceful. But beneath the warmth of breakfast and cartoons, a current of unease still lingered. "You have a visitor at the gate, Mr. Freeman." The intercom crackled from the security panel near the fridge. "Name's Henry Brooks. Says he's Carla's brother." Tyler stiffened. Anna looked up, her pencil pausing mid-stroke. "I'll handle it," Tyler said, setting down his coffee. He walked to the front door and stepped outside just as Henry Brooks approached. Henry wore a wrinkled linen suit and dark sunglasses, but his walk was all posture and false bravado. He held a leather briefcase in one hand and a smug grin in the other. "Tyler Freeman," Henry said. "Long time." Tyler crossed his arms. "Not long enough." "What do you want?" Henry shrugged. "I'm here on behalf of my sister. She tells me you threw her out last week, without a dime. She endangered my children," Tyler said flatly. "She's lucky I didn't press charges." "Well," Henry said, smiling, "that's exactly what she's planning to do. Emotional distress, wrongful eviction, discrimination." Tyler stared at him. "Discrimination?" Henry leaned in. "She's white. Anna's not. People like headlines, Tyler. You know how the media loves to twist things. Wouldn't look too good for a man like you, especially with all your non-profit ventures. Taylor didn't flinch. Let me make this clear. You or Carla try anything, lawsuits, slander, media stunts, and I'll bury you in court. I've got recordings, witnesses, and more lawyers than you have friends. Henry's grin faltered. You think money buys everything? No, Tyler said, stepping closer. But it buys enough to make sure Anna never sees another day in fear. He nodded to the security guard behind the gate. Escort Mr. Brooks off the property. As Henry was led away, he shouted over his shoulder. This isn't over, Freeman. Tyler didn't respond. He stood on the porch for a long moment, breathing in the morning air, letting the anger settle before heading back inside. Anna was still at the table, but her eyes had lost their color. She looked at Tyler with something close to panic. Is she coming back? No, he said gently, but her brother showed up, making noise, empty threats. Anna hesitated. He used to visit. When Carla was drunk, he'd say things about me, about how I didn't belong in this house, that I was a charity case. Tyler knelt down beside her. You're not a charity, you're family. But what if they tell lies? She whispered. What if people believe them? He looked her in the eye. Then we show them the truth. Every day. Not just with words, but with how we live. That afternoon, Tyler met with Marlene Vasquez, a family therapist known for working with children from trauma. She arrived wearing earth-toned clothes and carried no clipboard, only a warm smile and a gentle presence. Anna was cautious at first. She answered in nods and shrugs. But as the session went on, she began to open. She used to call me it, Anna said. Like I wasn't a person, like I was. Something wrong. And how did that make you feel? Marlene asked. Anna's voice was barely audible. Like I shouldn't exist. Marlene didn't correct her, didn't rush to offer false comfort. She simply placed a hand gently over Anna's and let silence do its work. Afterward, Marlene pulled Tyler aside. She's holding on to a lot of pain, she said. More than you probably realize. But she's not broken. She's fighting to stay soft in a world that's tried to make her hard. Tyler nodded, jaw tight. Whatever she needs, therapy, tutors, whatever it's hers. She needs safety, stability, and to see you every day not as a billionaire, not as a man always busy fixing the world, but as a father who shows up. That night, Tyler canceled his business calls, skipped the evening investor dinner, and made spaghetti from a box, while Anna read Elijah a bedtime story. They didn't talk about Carla, or lawsuits, or the past. They just existed together, gently, like a new song being written. But peace was a fragile thing. The next morning, a headline appeared online. Billionaire Freeman, accused by estranged wife. Racial favoritism in custody battle. Anna saw it first. She had opened Tyler's tablet to watch cartoons but froze when she saw her face on the screen, blurred, but unmistakably hers. The caption read, Anonymous sources claim adopted daughter favored over biological child. She dropped the tablet. Tyler heard it fall and rushed in. One glance at the headline and his blood boiled. They're using you, he muttered. Trying to spin this into something ugly. Anna looked up, her voice trembling. Is it my fault? No, he said firmly. None of this is your fault. And I won't let them turn this into a circus. He picked up the tablet and deleted the app. But damage, once seen, cannot always be undone. That evening, the front gate intercom buzzed again. This time it was Mrs. Harper, the neighbor down the street. 68, retired librarian, and fiercely opinionated. I saw the news, she said. Is it true? You threw Carla out because of that little girl? Tyler kept his voice calm. I removed an abusive adult from my home to protect both of my children. Harper's lips thinned. Well, I suppose you'll be hosting protests next. Turning this neighborhood into one of those places. Tyler smiled tightly. If by those places, you mean homes where children are safe and loved, yes. Then he closed the gate without another word. Later, when he sat on the couch with Anna and Elijah watching old Looney Tunes episodes, Anna leaned against him and whispered, Will people ever stop being mean? Tyler put an arm around her. I can't promise they will. But I can promise this, you'll never face them alone again. Outside, the headlines raged. Inside, something stronger was growing. Not just a family, but a fortress built on truth. And in the quiet of the Freeman home, the healing had only just begun. The next morning, Tyler stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows in his study, staring at the city skyline. The sun glinted off the glass towers, casting long shadows over the waking streets of Atlanta. But none of it reached him. The news coverage from the day before had snowballed overnight. Now, nearly every major outlet had picked up the story. Clickbait headlines blared from every direction. Tyler Freeman favoring black adopted daughter over biological son. Freeman scandal. Inside the house divided. She's not even his blood, anonymous source speaks out. Tyler closed his laptop and rubbed the bridge of his nose. The attacks weren't unexpected. He knew Carla played dirty. But using Anna, using Elijah was beyond low. It wasn't just about reputation now. It was about the message being sent to children who had already survived more than most adults could endure. Downstairs, Anna sat curled on the couch, a thick blanket around her shoulders despite the summer heat. She wasn't talking much. Elijah clung to her more than usual, watching her every move like a shadow that refused to be left behind. Tyler came down, poured a glass of water, and joined them. I have to do something, he said quietly. Anna looked up at him with cautious eyes. Like what? Tell the truth. All of it. She frowned. But what if they don't believe you? He sighed. Then we show them something they can't ignore. That afternoon, Tyler made a rare phone call to his old friend and journalist, Cheryl Hunt. She was one of the few people he trusted in media. Gritty, honest, and allergic to political spin, Cheryl answered on the third ring. Tyler Freeman, I was wondering when you'd stop hiding. I need an interview. In person. No edits. Full context. There was a pause. Then, you serious? Dead serious. But it's not just me. I want them to meet Anna. On her terms. And I want to talk about what really happened in that house. Cheryl agreed without hesitation. Send me the address. I'll be there tomorrow. When he hung up, Tyler turned to Anna, who was now sitting at the kitchen table, sketching on a pad of paper. He knelt beside her. Sweetheart, he said gently. A friend of mine is coming tomorrow. She's a reporter. But she's kind. She just wants to hear the truth. From both of us. Anna's hand froze mid-sketch. Will she be like the others? No, he said. She won't twist your words. And she doesn't care about drama. She cares about people. Anna nodded slowly, unsure, but willing to try. The next morning, Cheryl arrived dressed in jeans, a navy blazer, and a no-nonsense ponytail. She stepped into the Freeman home like someone stepping into sacred space with respect, not curiosity. She sat with Anna on the back patio, the morning breeze lifting the hem of the girl's dress. Tyler stood nearby but out of earshot. Cheryl began simply. Can I ask you some things? You don't have to answer anything you don't want to. Anna nodded. What's your favorite food? Anna blinked. Macaroni and cheese. Good choice, Cheryl smiled. Do you remember when you first met Tyler? Anna looked down at her hands. I was in a group home. He brought a book, The Velveteen Rabbit. I'd never had a book of my own before. He gave me that one. Signed it. And when did you come live here? A year later, after court, he brought me home. Cheryl leaned in. Did you feel safe here? I did, until Carla. Anna's voice dropped. She didn't want me here. She said I was just a symbol, that I didn't match the family. Cheryl's face tightened, but she didn't interrupt. She called me things, locked me in the laundry room, told me no one would ever love me the way they loved Elijah. And your father? Cheryl asked. Anna looked toward the house. Tyler had stepped inside to give them space. He didn't know. I didn't want him to think I was trouble. I already looked different. I didn't want to be a burden too. Cheryl's voice cracked a little. You're not a burden, Anna. Anna blinked, startled by the kindness. Then, for the first time in days, she smiled. Inside, Cheryl set up a small camera and filmed Tyler's interview in one take. He spoke not as a CEO, but as a father, direct, raw, emotional. She came into my life when I was at my loneliest. After my wife passed, I didn't think I could raise Elijah alone. But then Anna showed up. Scared, quiet, full of fire. I didn't save her. She saved me. He paused, then added, Carla betrayed that trust. She hurt my children. And now people want to twist this into a race story? Let them, because this is about race, but not in the way they think. It's about how a black child is easier to doubt, easier to silence, easier to throw away. Well, not in my house. By evening, Cheryl had uploaded the video to her platform, unfiltered, uncut. Within hours, it had gone viral. Comments flooded in. This man just became my hero. That little girl deserves the world. We see you, Anna, we believe you. Anna scrolled through the kind words, her hand trembling. They're being nice, she whispered. Because they see the truth now, Tyler said. Not everyone believed. Carla's camp responded with more accusations, but they were falling flat now. The public had seen Anna, had heard her. That night, Elijah curled beside Anna in bed, thumb in mouth, while she stared at the ceiling. Do you think Mommy can see us? She whispered. Tyler, sitting in the doorway with his book, answered softly. I think she sees everything, and I think she's proud of you. Anna turned over, eyes heavy. Good, she murmured. Because I'm proud too. As the house settled into sleep, Tyler stepped outside, looked up at the stars, and breathed. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel like he was fighting to hold everything together. He was building something new. The week following the interview was a strange mix of calm and chaos. Tyler's team worked around the clock to handle the media fallout while Anna's story continued to spread like wildfire across social platforms. The public had largely rallied behind them, calling Anna brave, Tyler heroic, and Elijah the little brother who held the light. But not everyone was celebrating. One afternoon, as Tyler drove Anna and Elijah back from a bookstore event, Anna now invited as a guest reader to children's literacy programs, his phone buzzed nonstop. He handed it to the dashboard cradle and turned on the speaker. Ty, it's Rachel. His assistant's voice was tight. You need to see this. Carla's filed an emergency petition for visitation rights with Elijah. Tyler's grip on the wheel tightened. She's not even his legal guardian anymore, he said. She's claiming emotional trauma. Says you've alienated her from her biological son. She hired a new attorney, some big-name guy out of New York who specializes in public custody cases. Anna turned her head from the back seat, her small voice breaking the quiet. Does that mean she's coming back? No, Tyler said quickly. No one's taking you or Elijah anywhere. But even as he spoke the words, he knew family court didn't always follow logic or morality. The next day, legal documents were delivered to the house. Thick, heavy envelopes that reeked of manipulation. The wording was sharp. Request for reinstatement of visitation. Claim of paternal obstruction. Denial of maternal role. Tyler's lawyer, Harold Green, an older black man with decades of courtroom experience, sat across from him in the study and pushed the file forward. She's trying to make it about biology, Green said. She's leaning into the fact that Elijah is her blood, claiming that, since Anna isn't, you're showing favoritism. That's outrageous, Tyler muttered. Anna's my daughter in every way that matters. I know that, you know that, but the court doesn't care how many bedtime stories you've read or how many tears you've wiped. They want proof of psychological bonding, not sentiment. Tyler stood and paced the room. What do we need to do? You need a formal evaluation. Family therapist testimony. Statements from staff, teachers, anyone who can speak to the relationship between the kids and Carla. And we need to move fast. That night, Tyler sat Anna and Elijah down in the living room. He knelt before them, looking them in the eye. There's a hearing coming, he said. Some people are trying to say that Carla should be allowed to see Elijah again. Anna's face went pale. But she hit him. I know, Tyler said. And we're going to tell the court the truth. Every part of it. Elijah looked up slowly. Will I have to talk to a judge? Maybe, Tyler said gently. But I'll be right there with you. Anna's hands balled into fists. What if they believe her? What if they take him away? No one's taking either of you, he said. But we need to be brave again. Like you were in the interview. She nodded, but he could see the fear behind her eyes. The following week was a whirlwind of preparation. Tyler's team gathered character references, staff testimony, video footage from the security system, and even older nanny reports that showed concerning behavior patterns from Carla over the last year. Marlene, the family therapist, conducted private sessions with both children and submitted a detailed psychological report. Her conclusion was clear. Contact with Carla presents a substantial emotional risk to both children, particularly Anna, who has shown symptoms consistent with trauma bonding and post-traumatic stress. Still, the judge remained unpredictable. On the morning of the hearing, Tyler dressed both children in simple, comfortable clothes. No press, no flair, just family. In the waiting room outside the courtroom, Carla arrived like a gust of cold wind, her hair styled to perfection, a pearl brooch on her collar, and crocodile tears already forming in her eyes. She didn't even look at Anna. Instead, she walked directly to Elijah, knelt, and whispered, "Aye, baby. Mommy's here." Elijah stiffened immediately and stepped behind Tyler. Carla stood and faced Tyler with a rehearsed smile. "Don't worry, I'll be gentle on the stand." Tyler said nothing. Inside the courtroom, the air was heavy with tension. Carla's lawyer painted a picture of a grieving mother, cut off unfairly from her biological child by a resentful ex-husband. She admits she made mistakes, the lawyer said, voice thick with performance. But we must ask ourselves, do we punish a woman forever for one emotional outburst? Or do we believe in redemption? Tyler's lawyer stood calmly, and when it was his turn, he didn't use theatrics. He used facts. He presented video evidence, therapist reports, first-hand staff testimony. He didn't try to destroy Carla just to reveal her. Then came the moment that made the room hold its breath. Anna asked to speak. The judge, an older woman in her 60s, hesitated, but ultimately allowed it. Anna stood behind the microphone, hands shaking, but her voice was clear. She didn't just yell. She said I was dirty, that I'd never be loved. She locked me in the laundry room and gave us spoiled food. I wasn't allowed to hug my brother. She looked at Carla directly. She told me I was lucky to be here. But I'm not lucky because of this house. I'm lucky because I have a dad who listens now. Silence. Evan Carla didn't speak. The judge thanked Anna and called for a brief recess. When they returned, the decision was short and firm. Petition denied. No visitation granted. The court finds that allowing such contact poses a significant risk to the well-being of the minors. Carla slumped in her chair. Tyler breathed finally. That evening, back home, he tucked Elijah into bed, then sat beside Anna on the back porch as the sun dipped low. "You were brave today," he said. "I was scared," she whispered. "Bravery isn't the absence of fear," he said. "It's choosing to do the right thing anyway." Anna leaned against him, small but mighty. "Daddy? Yeah? Does this mean it's over?" Tyler looked out at the yard, at the house that had once held so many secrets. "Not everything. But the worst part? Yeah, I think that's over." Above them, the first stars began to blink awake, silent witnesses to a family finally beginning to breathe again. A week had passed since the courtroom verdict. And though Carla was legally gone from their lives, the memory of her cruelty still lingered like a bad smell in the corners of the Freeman house. It didn't disappear just because a judge said it should. Tyler had returned to work slowly, balancing remote meetings with long afternoons at home. His team knew not to pressure him, he had made it clear. Family came first. One Monday morning, Anna stood quietly in front of her bedroom mirror, twisting a loose curl between her fingers. Her school uniform was freshly pressed, and her shoes polished, but she hesitated before putting on her backpack. "Do I have to go today?" she asked, her voice soft. Tyler leaned in the doorway, holding her lunchbox. "You don't have to do anything you're not ready for," he said. "But Miss Richardson called. She said your art project from last month is on display." Anna looked up. "Did she say if the other kids would be mean again?" "No," he said gently. "But she said a lot of them saw the interview. Some of them even asked about you." She paused, then reached for her backpack slowly. At school, things were different but not entirely better. Anna walked through the halls with her head held high, but her eyes scanned the lockers carefully. Some students whispered behind their hands, others stared openly, like she was a character they'd seen online and weren't sure was real. But just a few smiled. "Hey, I liked what you said on television," a boy in her class said during lunch, "about families. It was cool." Anna blinked. "Thanks." Another girl offered her half a cookie. By the end of the day, she wasn't laughing yet, but she wasn't hiding either. Meanwhile, Tyler met with Marlene again. This time, in a private session to talk about his own guilt. "I keep thinking about all the signs I missed," he confessed. "I trusted Carla. I left the kids with her for weeks at a time thinking they were safe." Marlene nodded. "Guilt is loud, Tyler. But so is growth. You faced the truth. You acted. That matters more than pretending you were perfect." He let out a shaky breath. "Sometimes I look at Anna and wonder if she'll ever fully trust me. Not just because I'm her father, but because I'm a man. A man who didn't protect her soon enough." "Oh." Marlene didn't answer right away. Then she said something he wouldn't forget. "Children don't need perfect fathers. They need present ones." That night, as Tyler read to Elijah in bed, Anna poked her head into the room. "Can I sleep here tonight?" she asked. He smiled. "Of course." She curled in on the other side of the bed, between the stuffed animals and the oversized pillows. Elijah reached over in his sleep and wrapped his arm around her. She let out a soft breath, the kind of breath you exhale when your bones begin to believe you're safe. The next day, a letter arrived. No return address. Just Tyler's name, in neat cursive. He opened it cautiously. Inside was a single page, typed, "You think you've won, Tyler. But people don't forget. They don't forgive. Especially when you build your castle on lies. You'll hear from me again." No signature. He stared at the letter for a long moment before folding it and locking it in his office safe. He didn't tell Anna. Instead, he had security upgraded immediately, more cameras, a new gate code, and background checks on all staff, no exceptions. But the shadow of it stayed with him. 2 nights later, as they sat watching an old Disney movie, Anna looked up and said, "You're always looking over your shoulder now." Tyler smiled sadly. "Habit, I guess." "Is it because of her?" "Maybe. Or maybe it's because I know what it's like to think everything's fine. And then realize you were wrong." Anna rested her head on his arm. "You're not wrong now," she said. He looked down at her, surprised by the certainty in her voice. "You sure?" She nodded. "You don't yell anymore. You listen when I talk. You make Elijah laugh. And you don't let bad people stay." He swallowed the lump in his throat. "I'll always protect you. That's a promise." Even from letters?" she asked, not missing a beat. He laughed quietly. "Even from letters." That weekend, the Freeman Foundation, Tyler's nonprofit, announced a new initiative in Anna's name. The Anna Project. A fund to support children in foster care facing discrimination, neglect, and abuse. Anna stood beside him at the press conference, wearing a simple yellow dress and holding Elijah's hand. Tyler spoke to the cameras, to the donors, to the city. "My daughter taught me what silence can cost. She also taught me how loud love can be." Anna didn't speak that day, not publicly, but her presence said enough. That night, as they celebrated with pancakes and cartoons at home, Tyler sat back on the couch and watched his children giggle. For a moment, everything was still. Not perfect, but whole. And in the stillness, the house no longer echoed with fear. It echoed with life. It was a Wednesday evening when Tyler decided it was time to test the new rhythm of their life, not with cameras, not with therapists or legal papers, but something more intimate. He was going to host a family dinner, not just him, Anna, and Elijah, but also people from their life who had stood beside them during the storm. Marlene, Miss Richardson from Anna's school, Harold Green, the lawyer, and Cheryl Hunt, the journalist whose video helped turn the tide. "I want them to see us not as a headline," Tyler told Anna as they set the dining table together, "but as a family." Anna carefully placed the forks on either side of the plates, her fingers moving with focus. "Do we have to talk a lot?" "Not if you don't want to. You just have to be you." She looked at him, then down at her dark skin, her small hands. "Is that enough?" Tyler knelt beside her. It's more than enough. It's everything. By 6:30, the house was filled with the hum of casual conversation and the clink of serving dishes. Elijah darted around excitedly showing his toys to Miss Richardson, who laughed in delight. Marlene brought a homemade peach cobbler. Cheryl wore jeans and a flannel and hugged Anna like they'd known each other for years. As everyone settled into their seats, Tyler raised a glass not of wine, but ginger ale. He looked around at the gathered faces. Tonight isn't about press or courtrooms. It's about gratitude. Every person here showed up when it mattered. And I just want to say, thank you. There was a round of nods and soft applause. Then food was passed around, stories were told, and laughter bubbled up with surprising ease. But even as the room warmed, Anna stayed quiet, pushing her food gently around the plate. Cheryl noticed and gave her a reassuring smile. Do you draw every day? She asked gently. Anna nodded. Would you show me sometime? Maybe, Anna whispered. As the evening wore on, the group naturally split into smaller conversations. Tyler found himself in the kitchen with Harold Green, rinsing dishes. You've done well, Harold said, scrubbing a plate. She's smiling more. I still worry, Tyler admitted, that it's too soon, that something small will undo all this. You're thinking like a man who's known loss, Harold replied, but she's thinking like a child who's known hope. Trust that. Emsel. Meanwhile, on the porch, Marlene sat beside Anna under a string of soft lights. The night air was warm, buzzing with the sound of cicadas. Did you like having everyone here? Marlene asked. Anna nodded slowly. It felt normal. Normal's a good start, Marlene said, but you don't have to rush it. Anna looked up at the sky, quiet for a moment. Then, sometimes I forget. She's gone. Carla? Anna nodded. It's like, I expect her voice in the hallway. Or the door to slam. That's normal too, Marlene said. Your brain learned to expect fear. But one day, it won't. And you'll just expect laughter. Anna smiled faintly. There was a lot of that tonight. Inside, the group began to say their goodbyes. Cheryl handed Tyler a small folder. What's this? He asked. Something I've been working on. A long-form article about you and Anna. Real journalism. No headlines, no clickbait, just truth. He took it, surprised. You sure? I am. But you get final approval. If you say no, it never sees the light of day. Tyler looked across the room where Anna and Elijah were playing a quiet game of cards. She's not a story, he said. She's a girl. Cheryl nodded. Which is why the story should be told right. After everyone left, Tyler walked the quiet halls, checking locks and turning off lights. When he passed Anna's room, he peeked inside. She was sitting up in bed, sketching by lamplight. Can't sleep? He asked. She shook her head. Too many thoughts. Want to share one? She held up her sketch pad. It was a drawing of the dinner table from earlier that night. Each guest carefully rendered in colored pencil. At the center was Tyler, smiling. Elijah on his lap, and Anna next to him, holding his hand. I didn't know families could be this loud, she said. Without being scary, Tyler sat on the edge of her bed. Neither did I. For a long time. She reached over, touched his arm. Can we do it again? Not tomorrow, but soon? We can, he said, as many times as you want. She leaned into his side. I think I'm starting to like Wednesdays. He chuckled. That makes two of us. As she drifted off, the sketch pad still in her lap, Tyler turned off the light and closed the door gently behind him. In his study, he opened Cheryl's folder. Inside were printed pages filled with paragraphs he hadn't expected to read. Not about him, but about Anna. Her voice, her resilience, her quiet power. Cheryl had captured her like someone painting a soul instead of a picture. At the bottom of the last page was a quote from Anna during her interview. You don't have to match to belong. Love isn't about skin. Tyler sat back in his chair and let those words settle deep into his chest. The world would keep spinning. More storms would come. But for now, in this house, with this girl and her brother, he had found something rare, a beginning worth fighting for. 3 days after the dinner, just as autumn began to creep into the Georgia air, Anna asked the question no one expected. It was a quiet Saturday morning. The smell of blueberry pancakes drifted from the kitchen. Tyler wore his weekend sweater. Elijah ran around barefoot pretending to be a pirate. And Anna sat at the breakfast table tracing invisible lines on her plate. "Daddy," she said, not looking up. Tyler flipped a pancake and turned. "Yes, sweetheart? Do you know who my real parents are?" The spatula slipped in his hand. The pancake folded wrong. He caught it, tried to recover. There was silence, real, heavy silence. Elijah stopped mid-pirate growl. Anna finally looked up, her eyes steady. "I mean the people who had me first. Before the home. Before you." Tyler set the spatula down and wiped his hands on a towel, heart pounding. He knew this question might come. One day. But not now. Not at 8 in the morning with syrup on the table and cartoons buzzing from the living room. "I don't," he said carefully. "When I started the process to adopt you, the records from before the foster system were sealed. No names, just dates. There wasn't much." Anna nodded slowly. "So they didn't want me?" "No," Tyler said, sitting across from her. "That's not what it means. Sometimes life gets complicated. People are scared, or poor, or sick. Sometimes they make choices they regret." Anna was quiet. "I don't remember their faces," she said. "But I have dreams. A woman with a soft voice. She sings in a language I don't know." Tyler reached across the table and took her hand. "Maybe one day we can find out more, if you want. But no matter what we find, it won't change this house. Or us." She squeezed his hand once and nodded. "Okay." The moment passed, but something in the room shifted like a curtain had lifted and revealed a corner of her heart she hadn't shown before. Later that afternoon, Tyler met with Marlene on the back patio while Anna and Elijah painted birdhouses nearby. "I've been expecting that question," Marlene said after hearing the morning's events. "Yeah, well, it still landed like a punch to the chest." Marlene smiled gently. "Because you're her father. Even if you didn't know her as a baby, you know her now. That's what matters." Tyler watched Anna paint a red heart on the roof of her tiny birdhouse. Elijah had splashed green everywhere and was humming under his breath. "She remembers flashes," Tyler said. "But I worry the not knowing will grow into a wound." "Then help her turn it into a mystery," Marlene said. "Something she can explore safely, with you." That evening, Tyler pulled an old wooden box from his closet. Inside were Anna's adoption documents, medical reports, a photograph of the first time she smiled at him. He brought it to her room and sat beside her on the floor. "I thought maybe you'd want to look through this," he said. Anna opened the box carefully, her small fingers brushing each paper like it was ancient. "This is my file?" she whispered. "It's your story," Tyler said. "The beginning parts I could find." She picked up a hospital bracelet, tiny, faded. Just a number printed on it. "Is this mine?" "Yes." She held it like it was made of glass. Then she found the photo. It was her, at 6 years old, in a blue sweater, grinning wide with 2 missing teeth and paint on her cheek. Tyler stood behind her, his arms around her shoulders. "You looked younger," she said, studying him. "Because I hadn't met you yet," he replied. "I didn't know what being a dad really meant." She didn't speak again, but she didn't need to. She rested her head against his arm, holding the photo to her chest. The next morning, Anna made a decision. "I want to write a letter," she said. "To who?" Tyler asked. "To my other mom. Even if she never reads it." Tyler blinked, then nodded. "Would you like help?" "No," she said. "But can you mail it for me?" "Of course." She spent all afternoon in her room, pencil scratching across paper. At dinner time, she handed Tyler an envelope with no address, just 3 words. "To the first her." Tyler held it like something sacred. The next day, he placed the envelope in a clean white box, sealed it, and put it in his safe because some things are meant to be protected even if they never find their destination. At school that week, Anna wrote an essay titled, "The House That Love Built." She didn't mention Carla. She didn't even talk about pain. She wrote about the night they made pancakes, the time Elijah got paint in her hair, the day Tyler bought her a book about stars and told her she could name her own constellation. Miss Richardson sent the essay to the district office without telling them. 2 weeks later, Anna received an invitation to speak at the city's fall student assembly. Tyler asked her if she was nervous. "I'm terrified," she admitted. "Want me to write it with you?" "No," she said, then smiled. "But maybe you can sit in the front row." On the day of the assembly, Tyler sat in that front row, heart thumping. Marlene was beside him, Cheryl behind. Elijah squirmed in his lap. Anna took the stage, small and brave, her paper shaking slightly. "My name is Anna Freeman," she began. "And I used to think families had to match. But now I know that love doesn't care what you look like. It cares how you show up." She looked up, her eyes finding her father. "This is my house, my family. And this is where I became myself." The auditorium erupted in applause. "Tu le stood." And for the first time, as her face lit up under the stage lights, he realized something simple but profound. Anna wasn't surviving anymore. She was beginning to shine. The air had shifted in the Freeman household. Since Anna's speech at the student assembly, a warmth had settled into the walls, like the house itself had taken a deep breath and decided to start fresh. Tyler had never seen his daughter so composed, so certain of herself. But as autumn crept closer to winter, he began to notice something else, something subtle. Anna had grown cuter again, not in the broken way she once had, but with a new sort of silence, thoughtful, distant. She still smiled, still helped Elijah with his drawings, still curled up beside Tyler during movie nights. But her eyes lingered longer in the mirror now. She spent more time in her room, writing, sketching, listening to music he didn't recognize. One evening, as the wind howled against the windows, Tyler knocked gently on her door. "Can I come in?" "Sure," came her small voice. He stepped inside. Anna sat cross-legged on the floor, sorting through old-school papers and a few worn notebooks. She glanced up, then back down again. "What are you working on?" he asked, lowering himself beside her. "I'm making a memory box," she said. "Stuff I want to keep. Stuff that makes me feel real." Tyler paused. "You don't feel real sometimes?" She shrugged. "I feel like I'm made of too many pieces. Like I'm stitched together from other people's choices." He reached out, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "We all are, in a way. But it's what we do with those pieces that makes us who we are." She looked at him then, her gaze searching. "Do you ever wonder if I remind you of someone? Like, not on purpose, but in your head?" He tilted his head. "What do you mean?" "Carla used to say I walked like someone else, that I had my birth mother's attitude, like I was pretending to be someone I wasn't." Tyler's jaw clenched, but he kept his voice gentle. "Carla was wrong. You don't remind me of anyone but you." She gave a small nod, but didn't seem convinced. That night, after she'd gone to bed, Tyler sat on the edge of his own mattress, staring out at the dark city through the window. The ghost of Carla's cruelty still echoed in Anna's thoughts. That woman's poison had seeped deep, and no court order could erase what had been said in secret. The next morning, Tyler made a call. "Detective Ames," the voice answered on the other end. "It's Tyler Freeman," he said. "I know the case is closed, but is there any way to trace Anna's biological records, even sealed ones?" There was a pause. "Off the record?" the detective asked. "Off the record. I might know someone who can help." The call ended with a name and a quiet warning. "Be careful what you dig up. Some stones are heavy for a reason." Still, Tyler wasn't afraid of weight. He'd carried Anna's heartbreak for 2 years. If finding the truth could lighten her burden, he'd carry twice as much. 2 weeks later, a package arrived at his office. No return label. Inside was a slim file folder and a note. "This is all I could find. No guarantees." He opened it slowly, heart pounding. The contents were sparse: a birth certificate with no father listed, a hospital name in Birmingham, Alabama, and a name scrawled in ink barely legible. Danielle Renee Holloway, Anna's birth mother. The only known next of kin box was blank. Tyler stared at the name, repeating it in his mind, Danielle. He didn't know what he expected, maybe nothing. But now the name had weight. It was no longer a ghost. That evening, he waited until Elijah had gone to sleep. Then gently knocked on Anna's door. "I have something," he said. Anna looked up from her desk. "Is it bad?" "No," he said softly. "Just information. About your birth mother, a name." She sat very still. Then, "Tell me." He handed her the paper. She read it silently, lips moving over the words. "Danielle Renee Holloway. Do we know where she is?" "No," Tyler said. "Not yet. She might not want to be found." Anna held the page to her chest. "But I do." "Then we'll try." The next few days became a cautious adventure. Tyler hired a private investigator who specialized in closed adoption cases. Anna helped build a timeline, marking out every city she'd lived in. For once, her past didn't feel like a void, it felt like a puzzle. One evening, they sat on the living room rug, surrounded by papers and maps, when Anna looked at Tyler and asked, "Are you scared she won't want to see me?" "I'm scared she might hurt you," he admitted. "Not physically, but emotionally. Not everyone is ready to face the things they left behind." Anna nodded. "I'm not looking for a mom. I already have one. I just want to know why." And that, Tyler realized, was everything. She wasn't chasing replacement. She was chasing understanding. A week later, the investigator called. Tyler answered with a pounding heart. "We found a Danielle Holloway living in Decatur, 39. Works at a bakery. No criminal record. One eviction on file. Quiet life." "Does she know about Anna?" "No indication she's looked. No attempts to contact the system. But she never changed her name." Tyler exhaled. "What do you recommend?" "She's not a threat, but I'd advise caution. Maybe a letter first." That night, Tyler told Anna everything. She nodded quietly. "Can I write her?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "But only if you're sure." "I'm sure." She spent hours on the letter, rewriting it 3 times before sealing it. It wasn't long. Just a page. "Dear Danielle, my name is Anna. I think I'm your daughter. I don't want anything except to know where I came from. I'm okay now. I'm safe. I have a dad who loves me. But I still wonder about you. If you ever think of me, if you're okay too, I'd like to meet you someday, but only if you want to. Love, Anna." Tyler mailed it the next morning, and for days, they waited. Each knock at the door made Anna glance up. Each envelope in the mailbox made Tyler's heart flutter, but nothing came. Not yet. Still, the letter had already done something remarkable. It had unlocked a deeper calm in Anna. A sense that she was not forgotten, even if no reply ever came. That night, she stood in the mirror brushing her hair and whispered to her reflection, "I'm not just pieces." And her reflection whispered back, brave and certain, "You never were." A full month passed after Anna's letter was mailed. The trees had shed most of their leaves, and the Freeman house began to dress itself in winter's softness, scarves on hooks, thicker blankets on the couch, mugs of cinnamon tea cooling on windowsills. Life had settled into a gentle rhythm again, one shaped not by uncertainty, but by quiet, waiting. Anna didn't ask about the letter every day, but sometimes Tyler would catch her watching the mailbox as she walked home from school, or checking the front porch before going to bed. There was a calmness in her waiting, but also a question that lingered beneath her silence. Then, one Thursday afternoon, the bakery phone rang. It wasn't unusual for Tyler to stop by the small cafe near his office. He'd invested in it years ago to help a struggling chef friend keep it afloat. Now it had become his quiet retreat, no cameras, no questions. Just fresh bread and good people. He had just picked up a cappuccino when Lily, the cashier, held up the phone. "It's for you." She asked for you by name. Tyler raised an eyebrow. "Who is it?" She didn't say, just that she got your daughter's letter. His heart stopped. He stepped outside, pressing the phone to his ear. "Hello?" A woman's voice, soft but steady, came through the line. "This is Danielle. Anna's letter. It found me." He swallowed hard. Thank you for calling. There was a pause. She said I could choose. That she didn't want anything. That she was safe. That you love her. I do, Tyler said. With everything I have. Another silence. Then, I want to meet her. If she still wants that. Tuller didn't answer right away. He looked out at the street, watching people pass by, unaware that the world had just shifted. She does, he said finally. But I need to ask, why now? Danielle's breath caught. Because no one's ever asked me that without anger in their voice. I've been waiting to stop being ashamed long enough to be brave. He closed his eyes. Then let's make sure it's safe. For both of you. They agreed to meet in a neutral place, a quiet cafe in a small town between Atlanta and Decatur. Danielle didn't want it public. She didn't want cameras or surprises. I don't even know what she likes, she said. I'm afraid I'll say the wrong thing. She likes crayons more than markers. She hates chocolate milk. And she's stronger than both of us combined. The following Saturday, Tyler and Anna drove in silence toward the meeting place. Elijah was with Marlene for the day, and Tyler had prepared Anna for every possibility. She might cry, he said gently. She might not say much, but this is your moment. You get to decide how deep the door opens. Anna nodded, looking out the window. I'm not mad at her. You don't have to be. I just want to see her eyes. I think I'll know if they're like mine. They pulled into the parking lot of the cafe. A small place with green awnings and outdoor heaters glowing softly under the cold sky. Tyler spotted her immediately, Danielle, sitting at the corner table inside, her hands folded tight, her hair braided neatly down her back, a scarf wrapped close around her neck. Anna saw her, too. Are you ready? Tyler asked. Anna didn't speak. She just opened the door and walked inside. Tyler stayed back, letting her lead. Danielle stood up as Anna approached. For a moment, they just stared at each other. No words. No scripted greetings. Just recognition. Then Anna spoke. You have my chin. Danielle let out a soft laugh that sounded like a sob. And you have my heart. They sat. Tyler watched from a distance, close enough if needed, but far enough to let them be. Anna held her hands in her lap. I thought you might look different. I thought you'd be shorter, Danielle said, smiling nervously. Anna tilted her head. Why did you leave me? Danielle's face folded, not in shame, but in something deeper. I was 17, she said. I was scared. Your father left. I had no family. I slept in a shelter, and when you got sick, I couldn't afford the medicine. CPS took you to the hospital. I thought, if I disappeared, maybe they'd place you somewhere safer. They didn't, Anna said simply. I know, Danielle whispered. I've lived with that every day. They sat in silence again, but it wasn't heavy, just real. I don't need a new mom, Anna said. I'm not here to be one, Danielle replied. I just wanted to see if you'd grown happy. Anna reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded photo, her and Tyler and Elijah, sitting on the back porch, wrapped in a blanket, laughing at something off camera. He makes pancakes with blueberries, she said, and he never yells. Daniel's eyes filled. You look loved. I am. They sat a little longer, talked a little more. Tyler saw Anna smile. Just once. Then she stood. I'm glad I saw you, she said. I'm honored you let me, Danielle replied. Anna turned and walked back to Tyler. Ready? He asked. Yeah. They drove home in silence again. But it was a different kind of quiet. The kind after a door has closed and another opens. Later that night, as Tyler tucked her into bed, she whispered, She didn't hug me. Did you want her to? No, Anna said. But I think she wanted to. Tyler nodded. Sometimes love is heavy. She might still be learning how to carry it. Anna closed her eyes. I'm glad I gave her a place to try. And with that, she fell asleep. Tyler sat beside her for a long time, watching the rise and fall of her chest. The letter had found its way. The story had folded inward, then outward again. And while nothing was perfectly tied in a bow, something sacred had been stitched back together. Maybe not a reunion, but a reckoning. And for a child who had once only whispered, "Don't hurt us," that was everything. Winter arrived in a hush. The first snowfall of the season blanketed Atlanta with an unusual stillness. School was canceled, streets slowed, and the Freeman home took on the cozy hum of hot cocoa and wool socks. Inside, Anna and Elijah turned the living room into a fort of pillows and blankets while Tyler worked by the fire, his laptop open but barely used. Anna had changed since the meeting with Danielle. She smiled more, but not the way people expect when everything is perfect. It was a quieter kind of peace, the kind that comes when a door long shut has finally been opened, even just an inch. Tyler noticed. He noticed how she no longer flinched at sudden noises, how she walked through the hallway without looking over her shoulder, how she sang softly, sometimes just a hum when brushing her teeth or sketching by the window. He also noticed something else. Anna had started writing letters. Not just to Danielle, but to people she'd never met. People she imagined, a girl in a shelter, a boy in foster care, a teacher who didn't believe her. She didn't ask Tyler to read them. She just folded each letter carefully and placed them in a box marked, "To the ones like me." One afternoon, while Elijah napped and the snow still fell outside, Anna walked into Tyler's study, barefoot and quiet. "Can I ask you something hard?" she said. Tyler put down his pen. "Always. If Carla came back, like not into our house but back in town, what would happen?" Tyler hesitated. The legal case had ended months ago. Carla had signed a plea deal, no contact, mandatory counseling, probation, and a sealed restraining order. But he hadn't told Anna every detail. "She's not allowed near us," he said. "The law protects you." Anna sat down. "But does the law protect feelings?" "No," Tyler admitted. "Feelings don't follow court orders." She played with the edge of her sleeve. "Sometimes, I still hear her in my head." He got up, sat beside her. "What does she say?" "That I don't belong here. That no matter how nice this house is, or how many pancakes you make, I'm still borrowed." Tyler's heart twisted. "You're not borrowed, Anna. You're home, and no voice hers, or even your own doubts can take that away." She nodded. But the question had been asked. The fear named. That same night, something strange happened. Tyler was taking the trash out when he noticed footprints in the snow near the gate, too large to be a child's, too fresh to be old. They led nowhere, just paused at the edge of the property, then vanished. He tightened the security cameras. Told himself it was probably a passerby. But something about the pattern, the direction felt deliberate. 2 days later, a letter arrived. No return address. Just a card inside, unsigned. "You think winter keeps out the past, but snow only hides the tracks for a while." Tyler read it twice, then locked it in the safe beside Anna's first bracelet. He didn't tell her. Instead, he contacted the detective again, then increased patrols near the neighborhood. If Carla had returned, she was treading carefully. And legally, she was on thin ice. But the ice was there. That week, Cheryl Hunt visited for coffee and brought good news. Her article on Anna's journey had been picked up by a national magazine. They wanted to do a feature on adoption, race, and healing, highlighting Anna's strength. "They'll protect her identity," Cheryl said. "No names unless you allow it. Just her story. Her voice." Anna listened from the couch, hugging a pillow. "Will they tell the bad parts?" she asked. Cheryl looked at her kindly. "Only the parts you want them to." Anna was quiet for a moment. "Then maybe they can tell the part where I didn't break." Tula blinked, moved. "You didn't," he whispered. "You bent. But you never broke." That night, as the fire crackled and snowflakes tapped gently at the window, Anna climbed onto the couch beside him. "Do you ever think about your mom?" she asked suddenly. Tyler smiled faintly. "All the time. She was tough. Smelled like lavender, played Marvin Gaye every Saturday morning while cleaning." Anna leaned her head on his shoulder. "I wish I had memories like that." "You're making them now," he said. "And one day, they'll be the strongest thing you have." She looked up at him. "Will you always be here?" "Like always?" "Always?" He didn't flinch. "As long as I breathe, yes." And that seemed to be enough for now. But the next morning, the world knocked a little harder. A package was left on the porch, wrapped in plain brown paper. No label. Inside was a children's book. The Girl with the Torn Wings. There was no note, no signature, just a single-page dog, eared near the end. The passage read, "Some wings grow back. Not because they forget they were torn, but because they remember how it felt to fall." Tyler stared at the page for a long time. Was it a threat? A peace offering? A message from Danielle? Or Carla? He didn't show Anna. But that night, as she sketched in the living room and Elijah played with his toy trucks, Tyler sat in his office and began to write. Not for publication, not for the courts, but for Anna. A letter she wouldn't read yet. A story from his heart. About choosing her. About watching her grow. About how a man becomes a father not through birth, but through promises kept, wounds held, and laughter earned. Outside, the snow continued to fall. But inside, the fire stayed lit. And though the past still whispered, the present roared louder. Because Anna was not borrowed. She was rooted, and Tyler, though watchful, no longer braced for winter. He had learned to stand in it. 2 weeks passed without incident. The snow melted into slush, and Atlanta's sky turned from steel gray to soft blue. Life pushed forward. Anna returned to school. Elijah drew superheroes with sticky fingers. Tyler found himself sleeping better. The letter, the footprints, even the children's book none had repeated. Maybe the ghosts had settled. Maybe the storm had passed. But then, on a Thursday morning, Anna came home from school with something crumpled in her coat pocket. Tyler found it while hanging up her jacket. It was a photocopy. A grainy image of an old ID card. Barely legible. But the name was clear. Robert J. Freeman. A man. Black. Late 30s in the photo. And the label, Correctional Facility Inmate. Tyler's breath caught. He stared at the name. Freeman. His name. But not from his family. Anna came into the hallway and froze when she saw what he held. "Where did this come from?" Tyler asked. She looked down at her shoes. "It was in my locker. No note. Just that. Do you know who he is?" "Number, I swear." Tyler didn't accuse her. He just nodded and set the paper aside. That night, he called the detective again. "Look into a Robert J. Freeman. Any connection to Carla or Danielle Holloway." A day later, the detective called back. "Robert Freeman, known felon, served 12 years for assault and theft, released 5 years ago. No known children. But there's one sealed file from when he was incarcerated. And here's the kicker, he did time in Birmingham. Same hospital where Anna was born. Same timeline." Tyler's voice was tight. "You think he's Anna's biological father?" "Too soon to say, but someone wants you to believe he is." The detective paused. "Want me to dig deeper?" "Yes," Tyler said, "but do it quiet." He hung up and sat in the dark for a long time. Why now? Why this? That night, he didn't tell Anna. Not yet. Not until he had facts. But she noticed his silence at dinner. The way he stirred his soup but didn't eat it. The way he flinched when Elijah dropped his spoon. "You're scared," she said later, curled up next to him on the couch. "I'm cautious," he replied. "Is there a difference?" He didn't answer. The next day, Cheryl called. "You're not going to like this," she said, "but someone's talking." A blog out of Montgomery published a piece hinting that Anna's real father is a criminal. They didn't name names, but they said a media darling adoptive father was hiding secrets. Tyler's stomach turned. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough. It'll spread." He hung up and paced the living room. Then he called Harold, his lawyer. "If this explodes, we need to be ahead of it," Tyler said. "You want to confirm or deny?" Harold asked. "Neither. I want to protect her." Harold sighed. "Then you better prepare her. Because if this becomes public, kids at school, people in stores, they'll talk." So that evening, Tyler sat Anna down. "There's something I found out," he said gently, "about someone who might be your biological father." Anna didn't blink. "Is he bad?" "He made mistakes. Big ones. He went to prison. She nodded slowly. Is he like Carla? No, Tyler said. But someone is trying to use him to scare us. Or shame us. Does it work? She asked. He looked at her, amazed at her calm. No, he said. Not even a little. She smiled. Then it won't work on me, either. But the world wasn't as kind. 3 days later, as Anna walked through the school hallway, she heard it. Jail baby. It was whispered. Then repeated. Then laughed. She kept walking, her face burning, but her steps steady. Later that day, she sat outside alone during lunch, her food untouched. Miss Richardson found her there. Want company? The teacher asked. Anna shrugged. Everyone thinks I came from someone bad. Miss Richardson sat beside her. I came from someone bad. My mother was a drug dealer. My dad disappeared. But here I am. Anna looked at her. Do you feel broken? No, Miss Richardson said. Just brave. And a little tired of being judged by ghosts I never met. Anna didn't reply, but her lips curled slightly. That night, she told Tyler what had happened. He wanted to burn the world down, but Anna stopped him. I'm okay, she said, but I want to meet him. Tyler blinked. What? I want to see if he's real, if he's him. You don't even know if he's your father. I know, but I want to know for myself. It took a week to arrange. Robert Freeman, living in a halfway house in Savannah, agreed to a supervised meeting. No cameras, no press, just one conversation, no promises. They met in a community center, sterile walls, folding chairs, a vending machine humming in the corner. Anna walked in, holding Tyler's hand. Robert stood when he saw her. He looked older than his photo, gray in his beard. Tattoos faded on his arms, but his eyes were sharp, alert. Hi, he said. You must be her. Anna didn't reply at first. Then, do you know me? He shook his head slowly. Number. But I knew your mother. Long time ago. She didn't tell me she was pregnant. I didn't know you existed. Until I saw a photo. Online, you look like her. Anna sat. Tyler stayed close. Did you hurt people? She asked. Yes, Robert said, no flinch. I was angry, broke, dumb. I hurt people. I went to prison. I learned. I changed. But I won't lie to you, I wasn't a good man then. Are you now? I'm trying. She nodded. I don't need anything from you, she said. Not even answers. But if you want to do something good, maybe don't let the worst part of your life be the only thing people know. He smiled a little. Fair. Then, without warning, Anna stood. Thank you for showing up. And she left. On the drive home, she was quiet. Tyler finally asked, how do you feel? Anna looked out the window. Clean. He didn't understand. Like someone washed off a name I never asked for. And for the first time since the photocopy, she slept without waking once. Because truth, even when ugly, is lighter than rumor. And she was learning to carry it well. March came with a cold rain, the kind that seeps through coats and turns sidewalks into mirrors. The Freeman house remained steady and warm, filled with the smell of cedar and old jazz. Anna had been quieter again, but not in fear. She was thinking, building something in her mind. One evening, she came into Tyler's study carrying her memory box. She placed it on the desk with care, then looked him in the eyes. I want to change my name, she said. Tyler raised his eyebrows. Change it? Not my first name, Anna clarified. But the rest, legally. He sat back slowly. To what? She reached into the box and pulled out a piece of paper lined, slightly wrinkled, written in her careful cursive. Anna Renee Freeman. Tyler's breath caught. Renee? It was her middle name, Anna said. Danielle's. I want to keep a piece of her. But the rest, I want it to be mine. No Carla. No fake last names from the system. Just the name I choose. He stared at her, heart swelling. That's beautiful. I want the papers to say it. Not just people's voices. The world should know who I am. not guess. Tyler nodded. Then we'll do it. I'll call the lawyer in the morning. She smiled, relieved. Thank you. 2 weeks later, they sat in a courtroom, nothing fancy. Just a family court judge with reading glasses and tired hands. Tyler signed the forms. Anna held the pen with both hands, as if anchoring something sacred. The judge asked if she understood the change. Anna looked straight at her. Yes, this is who I've been. I just needed the world to catch up. The judge smiled. Then let's make it official. The gavel fell gently, and Anna Renee Freeman became a name written into law. Afterward, they went for ice cream, even though it was freezing. Elijah smeared chocolate on his cheeks, and Tyler let Anna choose 2 toppings instead of 1. It felt like a birthday, a quiet celebration of identity reclaimed. That night, Tyler stood at the kitchen sink, washing bowls when Marlene called. You got a minute? She asked. Of course. There's something I need to tell you. And I wanted you to hear it from me before anyone else. Tyler tensed. Go ahead. Carla filed a petition. She's asking for her record to be reviewed. He stopped breathing for a moment. On what grounds? She claims sobriety, completion of therapy, stable housing. She wants the restraining order reconsidered. Oh. Tyler gripped the edge of the counter. She wants access to Anna? Legally, she's not asking for visitation. But the language leaves room. If the judge agrees, she could be allowed to write letters, attend school events. No, Tyler said flatly. Absolutely not. I'm already filing a counter-motion, Marlene said. But you need to prepare Anna. If this gets to a hearing, her name might surface again. Her story. And people might forget the truth. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat beside Anna's door, listening to her breathing. The girl who had rebuilt herself piece by piece, who had written letters to ghosts and stepped into fire and come out whole. He would not let anyone rewrite her name again. In the morning, over pancakes, he told her. She didn't flinch. She's not the storm anymore, Anna said. Just a cloud. But clouds can block the sun. Then I'll make my own light. Tu lo stadat here, Stunne. You keep saying things that feel like they belong in books. Anna shrugged. I've read a lot of books. They prepared for the hearing. Marlene collected letters from teachers, counselors, even Elijah's daycare coordinator. Cheryl offered to testify. Miss Richardson wrote a 3-page statement ending with, Anna doesn't need protecting from her past. She needs space to keep moving forward without it chasing her. Mine. On the day of the hearing, Anna wore the same red coat she'd worn to her name change appointment. She tied her curls back. Tyler offered to bring her a toy for comfort, but she shook her head. I'm not scared, she said, just ready. In the courtroom, Carla sat 2 rows back, her lawyer beside her. She looked thinner, older, but her eyes still flickered with calculation. She didn't speak directly to Anna or Tyler. Tyler sat with his arm around Anna as Marlene presented their case. The judge asked questions. Carla's lawyer cited rehabilitation, reform, rights. But something in Carla's posture made the room colder. She didn't apologize. She didn't speak of love. Only redemption. Then, the judge turned to Anna. You've been through a lot, he said. I don't normally ask children to speak. But this is your life. Do you want to say anything? Anna stood. Not too tall, but straight. Her voice didn't shake. I don't hate her, she said. But she didn't protect me. My dad did. My teachers did. I protected myself, too. But she hurt me because I was different. Because I was quiet. Because I reminded her of someone else. The judge nodded. And now, I forgive her. But I don't want her near my brother. Or me. Or our house. I want to grow without looking over my shoulder. A pause. And I want my peace more than I want her apology. The courtroom held its breath. The judge leaned back. Thank you, Anna. You're remarkably clear. When the decision came, it was firm. The restraining order would stand. No letters, no visits, no shadows. Carla left quickly, her eyes avoiding every gaze. Outside, Anna exhaled deeply. You were incredible, Tyler said. She didn't smile. Not yet. But her voice was light. She wanted a second chance. But I already gave myself one. They went home. Later that night, as rain tapped softly on the roof, Anna opened her memory box. She added something new, a small printout of the court order. She looked at Tyler and said, "Not to remember her, but to remember me." He kissed her forehead. "You're becoming everything you were meant to be." And she whispered back, "Number, I'm becoming more." Spring returned slowly, one flower at a time. Atlanta's streets filled with blooming dogwoods, and the scent of new life drifted through open windows. At the Freeman home, change settled gently, like fresh sheets on a familiar bed. Peace, real and earned, began to stretch its arms. Anna had grown more in spirit than in size. She laughed easier now. She asked deeper questions, and one morning over breakfast, she made an announcement. "I want to build a wall," she said, spooning oatmeal into her mouth. Tuller blinked. "A wall?" "Not outside," she clarified. "Inside, in the hallway. I want to paint names." Elijah's eyes widened. "Like superhero names?" "No," Anna said thoughtfully. "Real ones. People who helped me." "Oh." Tyler set down his coffee. "Like a thank you wall?" Anna nodded. "Exactly." Over the next week, she gathered supplies, acrylic paints, brushes, stencils, a ruler for straight lines. She chose the hallway between the kitchen and the back porch, a quiet, narrow space where every person in the house passed at least once a day. The first name she painted was small. At the top, Miss Richardson. Then below it, Cheryl Hunt. Then, Marlene Banks, Elijah Freeman, and finally larger than the rest, Tyler Freeman. "Is it weird that I put you last?" she asked as she signed her name under the list. Tyler smiled. "Not at all. Sometimes the foundation comes last so it can hold everything else up." As word spread among their close circle, people began stopping by just to see the wall. Miss Richardson brought over a framed photo of the class project Anna had inspired dozens of handprints in a circle around the words "Kindness is louder." Cheryl cried when she saw her name and brought Anna a leather journal with her initials stitched in gold. Even Marlene stood quietly in the hallway for a long time, tracing her fingers over the paint. "You've built more than a wall, kid," she said. "You've built a legacy." But it wasn't until a week later that Anna added something unexpected. Tyler came home to find a new name written in the smallest letters. Near the bottom corner, Daniele Holloway. He stood staring for a long time. Anna walked up beside him. "She doesn't need a big space, but she needs a place." He nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I'm proud of you." "She gave me the song," Anna said softly. "From my dream." I heard it again. That night, Anna played a tune on her little keyboard, soft, uncertain. A melody she said she remembered from long ago. Tyler recorded it. Not for public ears, just for her, for the future. When memory might fade, but truth could still hum. A few days later, Elijah added his own touch to the wall. A crayon drawing of the family as Stick figures him with a cape, Anna with a crown, Tyler holding pancakes. Life, for the moment, was whole, but quietness often carries echoes. One morning, Tyler received an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a newspaper clipping from a small-town publication in Alabama. It told the story of a young woman, recently released from a halfway house, now working at a community garden. There was a photo, Danielle, in work gloves, smiling at a little boy holding a tomato. At the bottom, a quote, "I'm learning that forgiveness is something you plant, not something you ask for." Tyler read it twice, then folded the clipping and placed it in Anna's memory box, between her name change certificate and the letter she never sent. She didn't ask about it. But he left the lid open that day, just in case. Anna had started writing again, poems, mostly. Some short, some messy. One was about a feather that survived a storm. Another about a girl made of clay who turned to stone but softened again. Tyler didn't ask to read them. He simply noticed they kept growing longer. One Saturday, she read one aloud to the family during breakfast. It ended with the line, "I am not what hurt me, I am what I healed." Cheryl later printed that quote and had it framed. It now hung above the wall of names. Around the same time, a letter arrived at the school from the State Department of Education. Anna's essay from the fall, The House That Love Built, had been selected for inclusion in a statewide anthology of youth writing. She would be invited to read it aloud at the Capitol next month. Tyler offered to help her rehearse. Anna declined. "I've already lived it," she said. "Now I just need to say it out loud." As the date approached, she practiced quietly in her room. Elijah stood outside the door and whispered, "She's gonna win everything." Tyler laughed, but deep down, he believed it too. The day of the reading arrived under a bright, cloudless sky. The Capitol building was filled with people, educators, students, parents, officials. Anna stood backstage in her simple dress, her hair in 2 braids, her palms sweaty. Tula crouched beside her. "Want a trick to calm down?" he asked. She nodded. "Picture one person who loves you, sitting in the front row, just listening, not judging, just proud." She smiled. "That's easy. It's you." And then she walked on stage. She read her words clearly, never looking down. Her voice filled the room, not loud, but full. The kind of voice that doesn't ask permission. It simply arrives. When she finished, there was a pause. Then applause, real, thunderous applause. Tyler stood, heart full. Marlene wiped her eyes. Elijah cheered and threw a goldfish cracker into the air. Afterward, a state representative approached Anna. "That was one of the most powerful things I've heard," she said. "We need more voices like yours. Would you consider helping us start a youth mentorship program?" Anna blinked. "Like, to help other kids?" "Yes, kids who come from hard places, just like you." Anna looked over at Tyler. He smiled. "Only if you want to." She turned back to the representative. "I don't want to help them because I was like them," she said. "I want to help them because I believe they're more than what happened to them." The woman nodded slowly. "That's even better." Ugh. On the way home, Anna held the program booklet in her lap. "I want to add one more name to the wall," she said. "Who?" Tyler asked. Anna turned to him, her eyes calm and sure. "Mine." That night, she painted her name in bold yellow near the center of the wall. Anna Renee Freeman. Then, under it, 3 small words in her own handwriting. "Still becoming me." And the wall, like the girl who built it, glowed with something more powerful than victory. It glowed with peace. 3 weeks after the Capitol reading, spring was in full bloom. The Freeman home was surrounded by azaleas and hydrangeas, buzzing with bees and the soft rhythms of a family in motion. Mornings came with syrup and sleepy hair. Evenings were filled with quiet piano keys and pages of books being turned. Anna had taken to spending her afternoons on the back porch, where the wind caught her curls and sunlight danced across her notebook. But that Wednesday, instead of writing, she was staring at a single envelope that had been resting at the bottom of her memory box for months unopened, sealed in silence. It was the letter from Danielle. She had kept it after their meeting, tucked between drawings and awards, but she'd never been ready. Until now. Tyler found her sitting still, the letter in her lap, unopened. "You okay?" he asked. Anna didn't look up. "I think I want to read it now, but I'm scared." "You don't have to." "I know," she said. "But I think, if I don't open it, it wins. The past. The fear. All of it." Tyler sat beside her. "Then let's do it together." Anna nodded. With careful fingers, she opened the envelope. The paper inside was soft, creased, handwritten. The ink slightly smudged in places. "Dear Anna, if you're reading this, then you've already become braver than I ever was. I don't know what you look like now. I don't know what you sound like. I don't know if you still like music, or if you found something new to love, but I do know one thing. You deserved better than I gave you. There's no excuse for the way I left. I was afraid. Not of you, but of not being enough. Of breaking you like I was broken. I thought that by stepping away, I was saving you. But I realize now I just handed you to wolves. I didn't protect you. But if there is any grace in this world, I hope it found you anyway. I've gotten clean. I volunteer at a women's shelter now. I plant flowers. I write poetry no one reads, but when I do, I always leave a blank page at the end. For you, in my dreams, you are always laughing. I hope that's true. I hope your laugh is loud, and your hands are strong, and your name is your own. If you choose to forget me, I understand. If you choose to forgive me, I am grateful. But no matter what, I want you to know I loved you. I still do. I don't ask to come back. I just ask that you live fully, loudly, and freely. Enough for both of us, Danielle. The porch was silent except for the soft rustle of the wind. Anna sat motionless, her eyes fixed on the page, lips parted but still. Tyler waited. She finally spoke. She was wrong about one thing. What's that? I laughed quietly. He smiled, but she wasn't joking. She thought love meant disappearing. But love is showing up. Every day. Even when it's hard. You've learned that well. She folded the letter gently and placed it on the table beside her notebook. I think I'm ready to write back, she said. Not to make her feel better, but to tell her I'm okay, that I made it. Tyler nodded. That's your choice, and it's a strong one. That night, Anna wrote, Dear Danielle, I got your letter. Thank you. I used to think about you all the time. Now, I don't think about you as much, and that's not because I'm angry. It's because I've been busy living. I have a little brother. I have a dad who listens. I have pancakes on Sundays and jazz on Saturdays. I even have a wall with names, and yours is there. Small, but there. I'm not writing this because I want anything. I'm writing this because I can. Because I'm not afraid of old ghosts anymore. You're right, I deserve good things, and I have them. And I hope, truly, that you find yours too. I'm not broken. I'm becoming. Anna Renee Freeman. She didn't mail it. Not yet. But she placed it in the box, folded carefully beside the original letter. That weekend, Tyler surprised Anna with something unexpected. Pack a small bag, he said, just for the day. They drove for hours, through winding back roads, under archways of blooming trees. Elijah slept in the back seat, and Anna sang to the radio softly. Finally, they arrived at a small cabin by a lake, nestled in the Georgia woods. What is this place? Anna asked. It used to belong to my mother, Tyler said. I haven't been back in years. I thought, maybe it's time we made some new memories. Inside, the cabin smelled like cedar and old books. The fireplace still worked. The dock was weathered but strong. They fished. They roasted marshmallows. Elijah fell into the lake up to his knees and laughed the whole time. That evening, as the sun set in fire-colored streaks, Anna sat on the dock beside Tyler. Do you think it ever ends? She asked. The hurt? I think it changes, he said. Like the lake. Still some days choppy, others, but always moving. Anna nodded. I like that. And when it gets too much, he added. You've got people to swim with. She leaned her head on his shoulder. You mean you? And your brother, and your wall, and anyone you choose to let in. Anna looked out over the lake. Maybe one day I'll bring other kids here. Kids like me. You can. She looked back at him, eyes steady. I want to become someone who shows up, not someone who vanishes. You already are, he said. That night, they lit a small lantern and let it float out onto the water. Make a wish, Tyler said. I don't need to, Anna whispered. I'm already living it. And the lantern drifted into the dark, carrying no prayer, only peace. The first morning of summer arrived with a sky so blue it felt like it had been scrubbed clean overnight. The air smelled of cut grass, honeysuckle, and the promise of long, warm days ahead. In the Freeman household, windows were flung wide open, sunlight streamed across the wooden floors, and the soundtrack of the day was laughter, jazz, and Elijah pretending he was a rocket. Anna stood at the edge of the kitchen counter, her hand gripping a worn leather strap. Her backpack sat on the floor, zipped, packed, and leaning against her leg. Inside was a small journal, a favorite book, and the letter she'd written to Danielle. Still unsent, but still important. Today was the beginning of something new. Tyler was making scrambled eggs when he noticed her standing silently, eyes distant. Nervous? He asked gently. Anna shook her head. No, just still. Still? Like when you're standing at the top of a diving board, not afraid, just waiting for your legs to listen to your heart. Tyler smiled. You've always had the words. She looked up at him. You always made room for them. Oh. This summer, Anna had been accepted into a weekend mentorship program for youth writers, an immersive retreat up in the North Georgia mountains. It was the first time she'd be away from home more than a night. No Tyler. No Elijah. Just other kids, stories, pine trees, and pages to be filled. You'll write to us? Tyler asked as he handed her a plate. Every Sunday, she said. Typed. And handwritten too. So Elijah has something to crayon on. She smiled, but the edges were tight. Tyler leaned in. You know, it's okay if you're a little scared. New beginnings are allowed to be loud inside. I'm not scared of going, Anna said. I'm scared of liking it too much, of becoming someone different and not knowing how to come home the same. Tyler considered her words. I think the best kind of growing doesn't take you away, he said. It just gives you more to bring back. After breakfast, Cheryl arrived to drive Anna up the mountain. She had volunteered to help with the camp's creative workshops, partly because she loved mentoring, but mostly because she didn't want Anna to walk into a new space alone. Anna hugged Elijah tight before leaving. He clung to her like a koala, whispering, Don't forget me, okay? Even if you get famous. She promised she wouldn't. She made him pinky swear that he'd keep feeding her goldfish crackers to their fish tank in protest. Then she turned to Tyler. And for a moment, neither moved. Everything I've written, she said softly, started because you gave me back my voice. He pulled her into a hug. I didn't give it back. I just reminded you it was always there. The drive took 2 hours. The car twisted through pine forests and rolled past sleepy towns until finally, nestled between 2 ridgelines, sat the retreat lodge. A wide cabin surrounded by cabins even smaller, like sentences circling a story. Kids were already arriving, pulling suitcases, hugging goodbyes. Anna watched them from the car window, her fingers gripping the door handle. You ready? Cheryl asked. Anna nodded once, then stepped out. As they walked toward check-in, a girl in overalls glanced at Anna's bag and smiled. Cool patch, she said, pointing to the small fabric square sewn into the back still becoming me. Anna smiled back. Thanks. It's my reminder. Later that night, after a long orientation, Anna sat on the porch of her cabin, legs folded beneath her, journal open. The air was full of crickets and wood smoke. She could hear faint guitar music from one of the counselor cabins. She picked up her pen and began to write not a letter, not an assignment, just a reflection. When I was little, I thought love was loud. Like shouting. Like slamming. But it's not. Real love is quiet. It's a plate of warm food. A door that opens without asking. A name spoken kindly. She paused. I used to wonder if I was hard to love, but the truth is, I just hadn't met the right mirrors yet. The kind that don't reflect the cracks, but the light sneaking through them. She stopped, smiled, then underlined one word, light. At the same time, back home, Tyler stood in front of the wall of names. The house was quiet, too quiet. Elijah had fallen asleep on the couch, with a book still open on his chest. Tyler traced his fingers along the paint. He paused at his daughter's name, Anna Renee Freeman. Beneath it, in her own writing, still becoming me. The house wasn't full without her, but it wasn't empty either. It echoed with the sound of someone who had finally stepped into the full shape of her name. In the following weeks, Anna flourished. She led a writing circle for younger kids. She submitted a poem to the regional journal. She hiked alone, stood in streams, wrote stories about girls with rivers in their voices. She even wrote a short story titled, The Woman Who Threw Thunder But Raised Flowers. It was about Carla. No bitterness, no revenge, just complexity, just honesty. Tyler received her first letter by email and the second by post. He read every line slowly, carefully. He pinned each one on the fridge. The night before the retreat ended, Anna stood before a group of parents and campers at the final reading. This time, she didn't hold notes. She didn't need them. I used to think my story was about what hurt me, she said. But it's not. It's about what I did next. She paused, looking at the crowd. I didn't write my story to be brave. I wrote it because silence was too heavy. And words are lighter. They float. They remind you where you've been, and more importantly, they remind others they're not alone. A hush, then applause, and when she returned home, Elijah ran into her arms so fast they both fell to the floor. That night, Tyler tucked her in. She looked older somehow, wiser, but still his girl. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "I brought something back." She handed him her journal. Inside the cover, she had written, "This is where I started, and where I keep starting." Over and over. Because becoming never ends. But love, real love, stays. Tyler closed the journal gently. "You've already written more truth than most people say in a lifetime," he whispered. Anna smiled, eyes flittering closed. And as the night deepened, and the world outside dimmed, one light inside the Freeman house stayed on, the one that had never stopped glowing. Her name, her story, her becoming. The story of Anna Renee Freeman teaches us that healing is not about erasing the past, but about reclaiming our voice and choosing who we become in spite of it. Through courage, love, and unwavering support, Anna transforms her pain into purpose, showing that even the smallest voices can echo with strength. Her journey reminds us that justice isn't always loud, it's found in quiet acts of truth, in the names we claim, and in the light we carry forward. For those who've been silenced, Anna's story is a powerful reminder. You are not what hurt you. You are what you choose to heal.